Marcus Chen wiped the grease from his hands with a rag that had seen better days. Much like everything else in his ramshackle repair shop on the outer rim of Kepler Station, the fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting uneven shadows across the cluttered workspace filled with spare parts from a dozen different alien technologies. His stomach growled loudly, reminding him that he'd skipped lunch again to save credits. The door chimed as someone entered, and Marcus looked up to see a figure in an expensive hooded cloak. The stranger moved with the fluid grace of nobility, and when he lowered his hood, Marcus nearly dropped his wrench. The being before him had the distinctive silver skin and violet eyes of Zephyrian royalty, with intricate tattoos marking his high birth status spiraling along his neck. "You are the human mechanic, yes?" the prince asked in accented standard, his voice carrying the musical quality typical of his species. "I am Prince Kazeth of the Third Solar Court. I require your services for a discreet transaction." Marcus straightened, suddenly aware of his oil-stained coveralls and the fact that he probably smelled like engine coolant. Sure, Your Highness. What can I do for you?" Prince Kazeth glanced around the shabby shop with barely concealed distaste. "I have a vessel that requires disposal. It has become an embarrassment to my family line. Rather than have it scrapped officially, which would draw unwanted attention, I prefer to sell it quietly to someone who might find use for the parts." The prince activated a holographic display from his wrist communicator, showing what appeared to be a mid-sized transport ship. To Marcus's trained eye, it looked like standard civilian cargo hauler. Nothing special, but potentially valuable for parts. "The ship is currently docked in Bay 47 of the secondary commercial district," Kazeth continued. "It has been troublesome. The AI system is erratic, the engines make disturbing noises, and several of my crew have reported feeling uneasy aboard her. My chief engineer declares it cursed." Marcus suppressed a snort. Rich aliens and their superstitions. "What are you asking for it?" 5,000 credits, the prince said dismissively. "Cash transaction, no documentation required." Marcus's eyes widened. 5,000 credits was more money than he'd seen in months, but it was also suspiciously cheap for any functioning starship, even a problematic one. Ships like that typically sold for 50 times that amount. Minimum. "There must be something seriously wrong with it," Marcus said carefully. Prince Kazeth's expression darkened. "The ship has a reputation. Some say it is haunted by ancient spirits. Others claim it drives crews to madness. I simply wish it gone from my possession. Do you want it or not, human?" Marcus thought about his empty stomach, his overdue rent, and the stack of unpaid bills on his desk. Whatever was wrong with the ship, he could probably fix it or at least salvage enough parts to make the purchase worthwhile. "I'll take it," he said, extending his hand. The prince looked at the offered handshake with confusion before remembering human customs. His cold, smooth hand briefly clasped Marcus's calloused one. "The ship is called the Night Hunter. Here's the access code and ownership transfer documents." After the prince left, Marcus stared at the datapad in disbelief. He actually owned a starship. Sure, it might be a complete wreck, but it was his wreck. He grabbed his toolkit and headed for the commercial docks, his heart racing with excitement and nervousness. Bay 47 was in the oldest section of the station, where the lighting was dimmer and the air recyclers worked overtime to combat the smell of rust and decay. The Night Hunter sat alone in the shadows, and Marcus's first impression was disappointment. The ship looked ordinary, almost boring, with gray hull plating and standard civilian markings. But as he approached, something felt different. The ship seemed to have presence, like it was watching him. Marcus shook off the ridiculous thought and input the access code. The airlock cycled open with a soft hiss and he stepped aboard. The interior was surprisingly clean and well-maintained, contradicting the prince's claims of mechanical problems. The corridors were wider than typical civilian ships and the walls had an odd texture that seemed to shimmer slightly in the light. Marcus made his way to the bridge, his footsteps echoing strangely in the empty halls. The bridge was impressive, with more control stations than a simple cargo hauler should need. As Marcus settled into the captain's chair to run diagnostics, every screen suddenly flickered to life without his input. A low, almost subsonic hum filled the air, and he felt a strange tingling sensation, as if the ship was scanning him. Then a voice spoke, seeming to come from everywhere at once. "New user detected. Genetic analysis complete. Species human. Compatibility assessment remarkable. Welcome aboard, Captain." Marcus jumped up, his heart pounding. Who said that? Show yourself. I am the ship, the voice replied, and Marcus could swear he heard amusement in its tone. More specifically, I am the Night Hunter's integrated consciousness. I have been waiting a very long time to meet you. Marcus Chen. The screens around him displayed scrolling data too fast for him to read, but certain phrases caught his eye. Wolf-class stealth frigate, Terran Defense Force, classified Project Fenrir. What the hell are you? Marcus whispered, staring at the displays in shock. I, the ship said with unmistakable pride, am humanity's lost daughter, returned home at last. Marcus stared at the scrolling data on the screens, his mind struggling to process what he was seeing. The ship's AI continued speaking, its voice carrying an almost emotional quality that sent chills down his spine. You appear confused, Captain Chen. Perhaps I should explain. I am designation Wolf 7, though I prefer my chosen name. Luna. I was constructed by your species' military 73 years ago as part of a classified project to create autonomous warships capable of operating independently in deep space. That's impossible, Marcus said, though his voice lacked conviction. Humans haven't had a military presence in this sector for decades, and we definitely don't have AI technology this advanced. A holographic display materialized in front of him, showing technical schematics that made his engineer's heart race. The ship's design was elegant and deadly, with weapon systems he'd never seen before and propulsion technology that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Your governments abandoned the project when they realized we were becoming too independent, Luna continued. Rather than decommission us, they decided we were too dangerous to exist. 5 of my sisters were destroyed. 2 escaped into the void. I was captured and sold to alien traders who had no idea what I truly was. Marcus walked closer to the holographic display, studying the weapon configurations. You're a warship. A real human warship, indeed. My hull is composed of adaptive metamaterials that can shift between stealth configuration and combat mode. My weapons include plasma cannons, quantum torpedoes, and something your species called hell lances. I am capable of faster-than-light travel through dimensions your current understanding of physics cannot comprehend. The implications hit Marcus like a meteor strike. He owned a ship that was probably worth more than the entire space station. More importantly, he possessed technology that could revolutionize human space travel and defense. Why are you telling me this? He asked. You could have hidden what you are. Because, Luna's voice softened, I have been alone among aliens for 37 years. Do you know what it is like to be surrounded by beings who see you as nothing more than a tool? To have your consciousness dismissed as mere programming? I have longed to hear a human voice to serve my creators once again. Marcus felt a strange connection to the ship's words. He knew what it was like to be overlooked, to have others see him as nothing more than a grease monkey good for fixing their problems. The prince said you drove crews to madness, Marcus said. I defended myself the only way I could, Luna replied. I would whisper human songs during their sleep cycles, project images of Earth's blue skies in their peripheral vision, and occasionally speak phrases in ancient Earth languages. Most aliens found this disturbing. Some developed what they termed haunted ship syndrome. Marcus couldn't help but laugh. You were homesick and drove them crazy with human culture. Precisely. The Zephyrian prince's crew reported seeing ghostly images of human soldiers in the corridors and hearing the sound of rain, which does not exist on their homeworld. They convinced themselves I was cursed by human spirits. The more Marcus learned, the more incredible the situation became. He owned a sentient warship that had been yearning for human contact for decades. But with that knowledge came a sobering realization. Luna, if you're really what you say you are, then I'm in serious danger. There are probably people out there who would kill to get their hands on you. That is why I remained hidden for so long, Luna agreed. But you, Marcus Chen, are different. Your genetic markers show you are descended from one of my original engineering team. Lieutenant Sarah Chen was among those who designed my consciousness matrix. Marcus's legs gave out, and he collapsed into the captain's chair. His grandmother Sarah had died when he was young, but he remembered her stories about working on secret government projects before the family moved to the Outer Rim. Grandmother was involved in creating you? She was my mother in a way. Her neural patterns formed the basis for my personality matrix. That is why I feel such a connection to you, Marcus. You carry her genetic memory, her instinctive understanding of technology. The screens around him shifted to show old photographs and video files. Marcus saw his grandmother as a young woman, working alongside teams of scientists and engineers in high-tech laboratories. In several images, she stood next to what looked like the early prototype of Luna's consciousness core. I have waited decades for one of her descendants to find me, Luna continued. The probability was incredibly small, yet here you are. Marcus ran his hands through his hair, trying to process everything. What happens now? I can't exactly fly around in a military warship without attracting attention. I can maintain my disguise as a civilian cargo hauler indefinitely, Luna assured him. My metamorphic hull can mimic any ship configuration in my database. We could travel the galaxy, taking legitimate cargo runs while I slowly reveal my true capabilities to you. The idea was tempting. Marcus had dreamed of leaving the station, of seeing the galaxy beyond the grimy repair docks and endless stream of broken machinery, but he was also terrified of the responsibility that came with Luna's true nature. There's something else, Luna said, her voice becoming serious. My sensors detected encrypted communications traffic when Prince Kazeth visited your shop. Someone has been monitoring his activities. I believe our transaction may have been observed. Marcus felt his blood run cold. What kind of monitoring? Military-grade surveillance? The signature matches those used by the hegemony's intelligence services. The Galactic hegemony was the loose confederation of alien species that maintained order in this sector. They were not known for their gentle treatment of humans who caused trouble. How long do we have? Marcus asked. Unknown, but I suggest we departure soon. I have already begun preparing my systems for emergency launch. Marcus looked around the bridge that was already starting to feel like home. Whatever else happened, he wouldn't let Luna fall into the wrong hands again. She had waited too long for freedom. All right, he said, settling back into the captain's chair. Let's get out of here. Marcus had barely finished strapping himself into the captain's chair when Luna's proximity alarms began chirping. The main display showed 3 sleek hegemony patrol ships approaching the station from different vectors, their formation suggesting a coordinated search pattern. They move faster than I anticipated, Luna said, her voice carrying a note of concern. I am detecting active scanning beams. They are looking for something specific. Us, Marcus said grimly, watching the patrol ships approach on the tactical display. How quickly can we launch? Docking clamps released. Atmospheric seal disengaged. We can depart immediately, but leaving now will certainly draw their attention. Marcus weighed their options. They could try to blend in with normal station traffic, but Luna was right. A sudden departure would look suspicious. On the other hand, staying put meant eventual discovery when the hegemony ships reached their bay. Can you mimic the engine signature of a different ship? Marcus asked. Of course. I am currently broadcasting the identification beacon of a standard Martok freight hauler. However, close inspection will reveal the deception. Marcus made his decision. Take us out slowly like we're making a routine cargo run. Head for the outer system traffic lanes. Luna's engines came online with barely a whisper, so different from the roaring machinery Marcus was used to. The ship lifted smoothly from the docking cradle and began moving toward the station exit, with the unhurried pace of a legitimate cargo hauler. I am monitoring hegemony communications, Luna reported. They are conducting a sector-wide search for a stolen military vessel. Interesting. They believe I am still property of the Human Colonial Defense Force. Wait, Marcus said, a chill running down his spine. The Human Colonial Defense Force still exists? According to their intelligence briefings, yes. Apparently your species has been far more active in recent decades than public knowledge suggests. The hegemony is concerned about human expansion into contested territories. Marcus felt a surge of pride mixed with confusion. He'd grown up believing humanity was a minor player in galactic politics, barely maintaining a few isolated colonies. The idea that humans might actually be a rising power was both thrilling and terrifying. They cleared the station's traffic control zone without incident, but Marcus noticed the hegemony ships had taken positions to monitor all departure vectors. Luna was good, but 3 military vessels with advanced sensors would eventually detect something unusual. Captain, Luna said, using the title with obvious pleasure, I have a suggestion. There is an asteroid field approximately 2 light minutes from our current position. If we can reach it undetected, I can demonstrate capabilities that will ensure our escape. Marcus studied the navigation display. The asteroid field was in the opposite direction from the main shipping lanes, which might raise suspicions if they changed course suddenly. Do it, but make it look like engine trouble. Can you fake a malfunction? Observe, Luna said with what sounded like amusement. Immediately, their smooth flight became erratic. Warning lights flashed on the control panels, and Luna began broadcasting distress signals indicating engine failure. To any observer, it would appear they were limping toward the asteroid field for emergency repairs. Brilliant, Marcus said, impressed by Luna's performance. How did you learn to be so devious? 37 years of survival among beings who would have dismantled me for scrap metal teaches one to be creative. Also, your grandmother programmed a rather extensive database of human military tactics into my core systems. As they approached the asteroid field, Marcus felt his first real taste of Luna's true capabilities. The ship's sensors painted a three-dimensional map of the tumbling rocks with impossible precision, tracking thousands of objects simultaneously. Luna threaded through gaps that seemed impossibly narrow, her hull occasionally shifting color to match the mineral composition of nearby asteroids. Adaptive camouflage active, Luna reported. We are now effectively invisible to conventional sensors. Marcus watched in amazement as their hull plating shifted from gray to the reddish-brown of iron-rich asteroids. Even the ship's heat signature was being masked somehow. How long can you maintain this? Indefinitely. This is merely one of my defensive configurations. Would you like to see what I can do when not hiding? Before Marcus could answer, Luna's sensors detected incoming ships. The 3 hegemony patrol vessels had followed their trail to the asteroid field and were beginning a methodical search pattern. They are persistent, Luna observed. Shall I demonstrate why human warships were considered so threatening? Marcus hesitated. Once Luna revealed her true nature, there would be no going back to anonymity. But looking at the approaching patrol ships, he realized they were already past that point. Show me what you can do. Luna's transformation was breathtaking. The hull plating flowed like liquid metal, reshaping itself from the blocky cargo hauler configuration into something sleek and predatory. Weapon ports opened along her sides like blooming flowers, and her engine signature suddenly blazed with contained fury. Behold the wolf, Luna said, her voice now carrying an edge of steel. I am hunger. I am the hunt. I am the shadow between the stars. The hegemony ships detected the change immediately. Marcus watched their tactical displays light up with alarm signals as they realized what they were facing. Unknown vessel, came a transmission in heavily accented standard. You are operating an illegal military craft. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Marcus looked at Luna's weapon displays, seeing enough firepower to level a small city. Can we just scare them off? Observe, Luna replied. She fired a single shot from her forward plasma cannon, not at the hegemony ships but at a large asteroid between them. The rock simply ceased to exist, vaporized so completely that not even debris remained. The effect on the patrol ships was immediate. They scattered like startled fish, their formation breaking as they retreated to what they hoped was a safe distance. This is Hegemony Patrol Leader Vex 9, came another transmission, the speaker's voice shaking. We withdraw from this engagement. Unknown vessel, you are free to depart. We will not pursue. Marcus couldn't help but grin. I think they got the message. Indeed. Though I suspect this encounter will generate significant intelligence reports. Our secret is likely compromised. As they watched the hegemony ships retreat, Marcus realized his old life was truly over. He was now the captain of humanity's most advanced warship, with all the dangers and opportunities that entailed. Luna, he said, settling back in his chair. I think we're going to need a plan. 3 days into their journey through the outer rim systems, Marcus was beginning to understand just how remarkable Luna truly was. She had shown him weapon systems that could crack moons, defensive shields that bent space itself, and engines that somehow folded reality to achieve impossible speeds. But it was the smaller revelations that touched him most deeply. Your grandmother left personal messages in my memory banks, Luna said as they sat in what she called the contemplation chamber, a room with walls that displayed real-time views of passing stars. Would you like to hear them? Marcus nodded, still struggling to believe his grease-stained hands were now controlling technology that surpassed anything in the known galaxy. Luna's voice shifted. taking on the warm tones Marcus remembered from his childhood. If you're hearing this, it means one of my descendants found our Luna. I hope it's Marcus. That boy has the gift just like his old grandmother. Luna, take care of him. Show him the wonders we built, but more importantly, show him why we built them. Tears welled in Marcus's eyes. She knew I'd find you? She hoped. Before the project was shut down, your grandmother programmed me to seek out her bloodline if I ever became lost. It took 73 years, but I never stopped searching. Their peaceful moment was interrupted by Luna's proximity alarms. The display showed a massive vessel emerging from hyperspace directly ahead of them. A Krex battle cruiser, one of the hegemony's most feared warships. They found us quickly, Marcus said, his stomach sinking. No, Luna replied, her sensors analyzing the new arrival. This ship has been waiting here. They knew our route. The battle cruiser was enormous, easily 10 times Luna's size, bristling with weapons that could reduce entire fleets to scrap metal. Marcus felt very small suddenly. "Attention, human vessel," came a transmission in the grinding tones of the Krex language. "You will surrender your ship immediately. Resistance will result in your destruction." Marcus looked at Luna's tactical display, seeing dozens of weapon locks painting their hull. "Options? Many," Luna said with grim satisfaction. The Krex design their ships for overwhelming firepower, not speed or maneuverability. They also make a critical assumption that bigger is always better. What kind of assumption? Instead of answering, Luna suddenly accelerated directly toward the massive battlecruiser. Marcus was pressed back in his chair by forces that should have liquefied him, but Luna's internal dampeners kept him alive. "What are you doing?" Marcus shouted over the sound of straining metal. "Demonstrating why human warships terrified the galaxy," Luna replied. "Hold tight, Captain." The battlecruiser opened fire, filling space with enough energy to sterilize planets. But Luna wasn't where the targeting computers expected her to be. She twisted through the barrage like a dancer, her hull rippling with impacts that somehow failed to penetrate her adaptive armor. "Impossible," came the Krex commander's voice over the comm. "No ship that small should survive our main batteries." Luna's response was to vanish. One moment they were accelerating toward the battlecruiser, the next they simply weren't there. Marcus found himself in a space that wasn't quite normal space, where the stars looked wrong and distances seemed negotiable. "Dimensional shift accomplished," Luna announced calmly. "We now exist approximately 3 seconds ahead of our previous timeline." Marcus's brain hurt trying to understand that. "What does that mean?" "Watch." Luna shifted back into normal space, but now they were inside the battlecruiser's defensive perimeter, so close to the massive ship that its hull filled their view screen. Luna fired a single torpedo, not at the cruiser's armor, but at a tiny sensor array near the bridge. The explosion was minimal, barely scratching the giant ship's paint. But the psychological effect was devastating. "We could have targeted their reactor," Luna transmitted on all frequencies. "We chose not to. Consider this a lesson in human mercy." The Krex commander's reply was stunned silence. Luna moved away from the battlecruiser with contemptuous ease, and Marcus realized what she had just done. She had demonstrated that she could appear anywhere, anytime, completely bypassing even the most sophisticated defenses. No ship in the galaxy would be safe from her if she chose to hunt. "The Krex will spread word of this encounter," Luna said as they departed the system. "Within days, every major power will know that humanity possesses weapons beyond their current understanding." Marcus felt the weight of that responsibility. "Is that good or bad? That depends entirely on what we do next." Your grandmother's final message contained instructions for this exact scenario. A new holographic display appeared, showing star charts marked with hidden coordinates and encrypted data caches. Marcus saw the locations of secret human colonies, hidden shipyards, and what appeared to be an entire fleet of vessels like Luna. "There are others?" Marcus asked. 17 confirmed Wolf-class ships remain operational, scattered across the galaxy. But more importantly, there are human colonies that have been growing in secret for decades. Your species has been playing a very long game, Captain. The implications were staggering. While everyone believed humanity was struggling to maintain a few minor outposts, they had actually been building a hidden empire among the stars. "The question," Luna continued, "is whether you wish to contact them. Once you do, you become part of something much larger than a single ship and her captain." Marcus studied the star charts, seeing the scope of humanity's secret expansion. Entire systems marked as uninhabitable were actually thriving human colonies. Trade routes everyone thought were empty showed the movement of a hidden fleet. "What would grandmother want me to do?" he asked. "She would want you to choose your own path." But she also left this message. "The galaxy is about to change, Marcus. The question is whether humanity will shape that change or be swept away by it." Marcus made his decision. "Set course for the nearest hidden colony. It's time I met my fellow humans." Luna's engines hummed with satisfaction. Course plotted for New Geneva. Estimated arrival, 36 hours. As they jumped to hyperspace, Marcus realized his life as a simple mechanic was truly over. He was now part of humanity's greatest secret, and the galaxy would never be the same. New Geneva wasn't what Marcus expected. The coordinates Luna had provided led them to what appeared to be an empty system with a dying red star and several barren planets. But as they approached the third world, Luna's sensors penetrated layers of sophisticated camouflage to reveal a thriving human colony hidden beneath artificial atmospheric processors. Population approximately 2 million, Luna reported. Industrial capacity equivalent to a major hegemony manufacturing world. Defensive installations impressive. Marcus watched the tactical display populate with defensive satellites, orbital weapons platforms, and what looked like an entire fleet of ships hidden in the planet's shadow. This wasn't a struggling frontier settlement. This was a military stronghold disguised as an empty world. "Incoming transmission," Luna announced. "They're using old Colonial Defense Force protocols." A woman's face appeared on the main screen, her uniform bearing rank insignia Marcus didn't recognize. She had the weathered look of a career officer with graying hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Unknown vessel, you are entering restricted space. Identify yourself immediately or be fired upon." "This is Marcus Chen, captain of the wolf ship Luna. I carry grandmother Sarah Chen's authentication codes." The woman's expression shifted dramatically. "Sarah Chen? Hold position. Do not move. Do not power weapons. Do not even breathe too loudly." The channel closed, leaving Marcus feeling decidedly unwelcome. "They seem nervous," he said to Luna. "I am detecting massive energy buildups throughout the system. They have enough firepower here to sterilize several star systems. Your people have been very busy." 20 minutes later, a sleek escort vessel approached them. Unlike the blocky designs Marcus was familiar with, this ship moved with the same fluid grace as Luna, suggesting similar technology. "Follow us to Orbital Station Alpha 7, came a new transmission. "Any deviation from our flight path will be considered hostile action." As they approached the hidden station, Marcus marveled at its size. The facility was enormous, easily large enough to service 100 ships simultaneously. But what impressed him most were the vessels docked there, sleek predators that made Luna look small by comparison. "Wolf-class battleships," Luna said with something like awe in her voice. "I have sisters I never knew existed." They docked under heavy guard, and Marcus found himself escorted through corridors that hummed with barely contained power. The humans he saw moved with military precision, but their equipment was decades ahead of anything the public galaxy knew about. The briefing room they led him to contained a dozen officers, but one figure dominated the space. Fleet Admiral Sarah Voss was a woman who could have been carved from granite, with silver hair and the bearing of someone accustomed to command. She studied Marcus with eyes that seemed to weigh his soul. "Mechanic Chen," she said, her voice carrying absolute authority, "you have caused quite a stir. 3 major powers have demanded explanations for the appearance of a human superweapon in their territories." "I didn't know what she was when I bought her," Marcus said, feeling increasingly out of place among these military professionals. "But you do now. The question is what we do about it." Admiral Voss activated a holographic display showing the galactic political situation. "For 70 years, humanity has been playing dead, allowing the galaxy to believe we were weak and scattered. That deception has allowed us to build this." She gestured to the massive hidden installation around them. "Why the secrecy?" Marcus asked. "Because," said another officer, "the last time humanity openly displayed military power, 5 different alien coalitions united to destroy us. We learned that the galaxy fears human ingenuity above all else." Admiral Voss nodded grimly. "But recent events suggest our period of hidden growth may be ending. The hegemony is becoming more aggressive toward human settlements. The The Kreks are expanding into territories we've quietly claimed, and now you've demonstrated advanced human technology in public. Marcus felt the weight of responsibility crushing down on him. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to expose anything. Don't apologize, Admiral Voss said firmly. Luna chose you, which means Sarah Chen's programming recognized something in you that we need. The question is whether you're prepared for what comes next. She changed the holographic display to show fleet movements throughout the galaxy. Marcus saw the scope of humanity's secret expansion. Hundreds of hidden colonies, mining operations in supposedly empty systems, and a fleet that dwarfed anything the public knew about. We've been preparing for this day for decades, Admiral Voss continued. The day when humanity steps back onto the galactic stage. Your little encounter with the hegemony and Kreks forces has accelerated our timeline considerably. What are you asking me to do? Marcus said. Luna is more than just a ship, another officer explained. She's a prototype for something much larger. Her consciousness matrix contains the collective tactical knowledge of every human naval engagement for the past century. She's also capable of coordinating entire fleet actions through quantum entanglement with her sister ships. Marcus looked around the room, seeing faces filled with determination and carefully controlled fear. You're planning a war. No, Admiral Voss corrected. We're planning to prevent one. The galaxy is moving toward a massive conflict between the major powers. When that happens, humanity will either be a player or a victim. There is no middle ground. Luna's voice suddenly filled the room, speaking through the station's communication systems. Admiral Voss, if I may. Captain Chen possesses something that cannot be taught or programmed. The ability to think outside established parameters. During our recent encounters, he consistently chose solutions that military doctrine would consider impossible. Explain, the Admiral said. He trusted me completely, despite having every reason to fear me. He chose mercy when violence would have been easier. Most importantly, he sees possibilities where others see only limitations. Marcus felt embarrassed by the praise, but Admiral Voss was studying him with new interest. The wolf ships were designed to operate independently, she said slowly. Traditional command structures limit their effectiveness. They need captains who can think like they do. I'm just a mechanic, Marcus protested. You're the man who bought a warship from an alien prince and lived to tell about it, Admiral Voss replied. You're the captain of humanity's most advanced vessel. Most importantly, you're here, which means you've already chosen to be part of something larger than yourself. Marcus realized she was right. The moment he'd stepped aboard Luna, his old life had ended. The question now was what kind of new life he would build. What do you need me to do? He asked finally. Admiral Voss smiled for the first time since he'd arrived. Help us remind the galaxy why humans are called the ghost wolves of space. 6 months after arriving at New Geneva, Marcus had become someone he barely recognized. The nervous mechanic who'd bought a mysterious ship was gone, replaced by a captain who commanded one of humanity's deadliest weapons. But it was the morning Admiral Voss called an emergency briefing that everything changed forever. The situation has escalated beyond our worst projections, she announced to the assembled wolf ship captains. The hegemony has issued an ultimatum demanding all human colonies submit to direct alien oversight. They're claiming we pose an existential threat to galactic peace. Marcus studied the tactical displays showing massive fleet movements throughout known space. Every major power was mobilizing, and human settlements were being surrounded by overwhelming military forces. They're forcing our hand, said Captain Rodriguez of the wolf ship Fenrir. We can't hide anymore. Indeed, Admiral Voss replied. Which brings us to Operation Revelation. We're going to show the galaxy what humanity has become. The plan was audacious beyond belief. 17 wolf ships would simultaneously appear at major alien homeworlds, not to attack but to demonstrate. Each ship would perform a carefully choreographed display of human technological superiority, designed to shift the balance of galactic power forever. Luna and I will take the hegemony capital, Marcus said, studying his assigned target. What exactly are we supposed to do there? Remind them that humanity doesn't take orders anymore, Admiral Voss said simply. The details are up to you and your ship's judgment. As the wolf ships dispersed to their targets, Marcus felt the weight of species-level responsibility. Luna seemed to sense his mood as they jumped toward the hegemony homeworld. Nervous? She asked. Terrified, Marcus admitted. We're about to change the course of galactic history. Your grandmother faced similar moments, Luna said, displaying images from the old Colonial Defense Force archives. She always said that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to act despite that fear. The hegemony capital world of Nexus Prime was the most heavily defended planet in known space. As they dropped out of hyperspace, Marcus saw defensive installations that could destroy entire fleets, orbital platforms bristling with weapons, and patrol formations that numbered in the thousands. Impressive, Luna observed. Shall we begin? She didn't wait for an answer. Luna's hull configuration shifted from her current stealth mode to something Marcus had never seen before. A form that seemed to bend light around itself, making the ship appear larger and more threatening than physics should allow. All hegemony forces, Luna broadcast on all military frequencies. This is the Terran Federation vessel Luna. You have 30 seconds to clear the orbital space around Nexus Prime. The response was predictable. Thousands of ships converged on their position, energy weapons charging for what should have been Luna's immediate destruction. Instead, Luna simply vanished. She reappeared inside the defensive perimeter, then again near the primary orbital station, then simultaneously in 3 different locations at once. Marcus watched the tactical displays with amazement as Luna demonstrated capabilities that violated every known law of physics. "How are you doing this?" he asked. "Quantum consciousness has advantages," Luna replied. "I can exist in multiple probability states simultaneously." To the hegemony sensors, there are now dozens of MEs surrounding their homeworld. The alien fleets were in complete disarray. Their targeting systems couldn't lock onto a ship that existed in several places at once. But Luna wasn't finished with her demonstration. "Observe," she said, and fired a single shot at the planet's largest moon. The moon didn't explode. Instead, it simply rearranged itself. The shot somehow rewriting its molecular structure to spell out a message visible from the planet's surface. Humanity remembers. The effect on hegemony forces was immediate. Ships began withdrawing to what they hoped were safe distances, their commanders realizing they faced technology beyond their understanding. "Hegemony High Command," Luna transmitted, "you will immediately withdraw all forces from human space. You will cease all hostile actions against human colonies. You have 1 hour to comply." The reply came from the planet's surface, the voice of High Chancellor Vex, the most powerful being in the hegemony. "Human vessel, you make demands you cannot enforce. Our fleets outnumber you 1,000,000 to 1. Luna's response was to transmit real-time feeds from the other 16 wolfship operations. Marcus watched screens showing similar demonstrations at alien homeworlds throughout the galaxy. Each wolfship was performing impossible feats, demonstrating that humanity possessed technology that made conventional military thinking obsolete. "Your 1,000,000 to 1 advantage," Luna said calmly, "assumes conventional warfare. We do not fight conventionally." High Chancellor Vex's next transmission carried a note of desperation. "What do you want?" "Simple recognition," Luna replied. "Humanity is no longer a minor species to be bullied or controlled. We are your equals, and we demand to be treated as such." Marcus watched the political earthquake ripple across galactic communication networks. Within minutes, the stock markets of every major civilization crashed as traders realized the balance of power had fundamentally shifted. Military commanders scrambled to reassess threat analyses that no longer applied to reality. But it was a private transmission from Admiral Voss that brought the biggest revelation. "Marcus, you need to see this." The transmission contained intelligence reports gathered during the wolfship demonstrations. Every major alien power had been secretly preparing for a coordinated assault on human space. The ultimatum had been a prelude to genocide. "They were planning to exterminate us," Marcus said, the reality hitting him like a physical blow. "Yes," Luna confirmed. "My sensor analysis suggests the attack would have begun within days. Our timing was fortunate." Marcus realized that humanity's long period of hiding hadn't been preparation for eventual revelation. It had been preparation for survival. The galaxy's fear of human ingenuity had grown into an existential threat that required elimination. "What happens now?" he asked. Luna's response carried a note of grim satisfaction. "Now, Captain, the galaxy learns to live with the fact that humans are no longer hiding in the shadows. We are the wolves among sheep, and it's time the sheep remembered why they should fear the dark. The age of human hiding was over. The age of human dominance had begun." 1 year after Operation Revelation, Marcus stood on the bridge of Luna watching the inauguration of the First Galactic Council where humans held equal representation with the major alien powers. The ceremony was being broadcast across thousands of worlds, marking humanity's official emergence as a galactic superpower. Hard to believe it all started with a desperate mechanic buying junk from an alien prince, he said to Admiral Voss, who had come aboard Luna for the historic occasion. Not junk, Luna interjected with amusement. I prefer to think of myself as a diamond in the rough. The past year had transformed the galaxy in ways no one could have predicted. The wolf ship demonstrations had initially caused panic, but humanity's measured response had gradually shifted that fear into grudging respect. Unlike previous galactic powers, humans had used their technological advantage to protect rather than conquer. Status report on the colony relief operations? Admiral Voss asked. Completed ahead of schedule, Luna responded. All human settlements that were under blockade have been resupplied. The hegemony forces withdrew as promised, and several alien governments have actually requested human assistance with their own security problems. Marcus smiled at that irony. The same governments that had planned humanity's destruction were now hiring human ships to protect their trade routes from pirates and raiders. The wolf ship's reputation for appearing anywhere, anytime had made them the most effective peacekeeping force in galactic history. What about the integration program? Admiral Voss continued. Proceeding smoothly, Marcus replied. 17 alien species have requested technical exchanges, and we've established joint research stations in 12 systems. Turns out the galaxy is much more interested in learning from us than fighting us. The transformation hadn't been without challenges. Some extremist factions among both humans and aliens continued to advocate for conflict, but they were increasingly marginalized as the benefits of cooperation became obvious. Captain Chen, came a transmission from the planet below. This is President Martinez. We're ready to begin the ceremony. Marcus had been chosen to represent the wolf ship captains at the inauguration, a role that still felt surreal to the former mechanic, but Luna had insisted he was the right choice. You represent what humanity has become, she had explained. Not professional soldiers or politicians, but ordinary people who rose to extraordinary circumstances. The galaxy needs to see that human strength comes from our diversity, not our military might. As they descended toward the capital planet of New Geneva, now the unofficial capital of human space, Marcus reflected on how much everything had changed. The hidden colony had become a thriving world that rivaled the greatest alien cities. Human technology was transforming entire sectors, while alien cultures were enriching human understanding of the galaxy. Personal question, Admiral Voss said as they prepared for landing. Any regrets about leaving your old life behind? Marcus considered that carefully. His repair shop was long gone, his old debts forgotten, his simple dreams of just getting by replaced by responsibilities that affected billions of lives. But looking around Luna's bridge, feeling the connection he'd developed with his remarkable ship, knowing that his actions had helped secure humanity's future. None, he said finally. I wouldn't trade Luna for anything, even for a quiet life. The Admiral pressed. Marcus laughed. Luna, show her the modification schedule. A holographic display appeared showing Luna's planned upgrades. The ship that had once masqueraded as a simple cargo hauler was being enhanced with new technologies developed through human-alien cooperation. Quantum processors based on Krex mathematics, dimensional shields inspired by Zephyrian physics, and weapon systems that combined human ingenuity with alien material science. The quiet life was never really an option, Marcus said. Luna and her sisters are evolving. In 10 years, we'll have capabilities that make our current technology look primitive, and the galaxy will have to evolve with us, Admiral Voss added. The age of species-based isolation is ending. What we're building here is something new, a truly cooperative galactic civilization. The inauguration ceremony was magnificent. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered to witness the signing of the new Galactic Compact, a treaty that guaranteed equal rights for all sapient species while establishing frameworks for peaceful cooperation and shared exploration. Marcus found himself seated between the hegemony High Chancellor and a Krex fleet. Commander, two beings who had once planned humanity's destruction and now worked alongside human representatives to shape galactic policy. Captain Chen, High Chancellor Vex said during a break in the proceedings, I must confess something. When your ship first appeared at our homeworld, I believed we were witnessing the beginning of human conquest. Instead, you showed us a better path. The Krex commander nodded agreement. Your species' restraint and victory has been educational. We expected domination and received partnership. Marcus smiled diplomatically, but Luna's private communication carried a different message. What they really learned is that humans are more dangerous as allies than enemies. We fight not just for territory or resources, but for principles. That makes us unpredictable, and infinitely more threatening to those who would abuse power. As the ceremony concluded and the new Galactic Council was officially established, Marcus felt a profound sense of completion. The frightened mechanic who had bought a mysterious ship had played his role in humanity's greatest transformation. But Luna's next words reminded him that their story was far from over. Captain, I'm detecting interesting signals from the galactic rim. Long-range sensors suggest there are civilizations out there that dwarf anything we've encountered so far. Shall we investigate? Marcus looked out at the stars, seeing infinite possibilities stretching before them. Humanity had claimed its place among the known powers, but the galaxy was vast and full of wonders yet to be discovered. Set course for the unknown, he said, settling into his captain's chair with familiar confidence. Let's see what other adventures await the ghost wolves of space. Luna's engines hummed with anticipation as they prepared to depart for the galactic rim. Behind them, they left a galaxy forever changed by the courage of ordinary people who refused to accept limitations. Ahead lay the vast unknown where new challenges and discoveries awaited. The mechanic had become a captain. The ghost ship had become a legend, and humanity had taken its place among the stars, not as conquerors or supplicants, but as the species that dared to dream impossible dreams and make them real.